Today, got Dr. Whiting here, and we are going to discuss the magic behind liquid supplements, why they are so, why are they so much a level above normal supplements. Liquid supplements have been around for a long time. Dr. Whiting's one of the pioneers of it. I don't even know how many years ago you did it, and you found out the key to absorption.
25 years.
Yeah. And so he created the amazing liquid vitamins, different products for a lot of different companies over the years. High Vitality Liquid from Phoenix Nutritionals. How did you come up with it?
Well, that formula represents everything I've learned the hard way about supplements, about liquid supplements.
Okay.
Here's the big problem, potential problem with liquids. Anytime you put something in a liquid, you increase its volatile nature.
And what does that do?
And that creates interactions, actions, changes in the formula, and even changes in certain nutrient structures. So all of that had to be addressed. And when we first started doing liquid supplements, it was a frustrating experience. I remember having retention samples of various formulas in my garage, and to come out the next day to find that the thing was so volatile and there was so much chemical reaction that the caps blew off, and I had liquid supplements dripping from my garage ceiling.
Wow. And
from there we kept going, and there's so many little things that are essential.
And what was that, from gas?
Today. Yeah, because when you put something in a liquid, it disassociates, and it was gassing off. And because what people don't realize is that
because it's all natural.
Well, that too, and we have a lot of enzyme activity going on. So basically, the high vitality liquid is a living formula. It has biological activity. And if that isn't regulated, kaboom.
And I guess you can't tell people how you regulate it because that's the secret, right?
Yeah, I could tell you, but then I'd have to go out and kill all of you. So, I'll give you one tiny little tidbit just so you understand how this is. And this is one of hundreds of things that you have to consider. The calcium in high vitality liquid has to be of a certain type. It has to be incredibly pure. And what most people don't realize is that almost all calcium carbonate, which is where all calcium supplements come from in the beginning, can oftentimes have trace minerals in there of a insoluble nature that you don't want to have. And when you put them in a liquid, they begin to react rather uncomfortably.
How long did it take to make the product that you made for Phoenix Nutritionals, the high vitality liquid?
Well, it's a culmination of over 20 years of trial and error and experimenting and tasting. Okay. One of the other things that we had a big problem with was whatever flavorings we put in there, the enzyme activity would break them down, and so after a couple of months, you didn't have any flavoring anymore, and the stuff tasted horrible.
Yeah.
And so we had to overcome that. Vitamin A and vitamin C don't like to live next to each other in water, in liquid. So we have to enteric coat or hide one of them from the other. And these are just some of dozens and dozens and dozens of things that we had to overcome with time. And the high vitality liquid that we make today is probably, well, it definitely is the most potent liquid supplement available. because the biggest problem with a liquid supplement is the minerals.
And why are they, I guess you're kind of leading to it, why are there so many few high potency liquid supplements like High Vitality?
Well, because nobody knows how to do it.
Okay.
It's just...
Because you see some on the market, but they don't have 136.
No, and they don't have the potency. They've got, like, for example, the B complex is one of the most nasty tasting supplements. I mean, you can smell it clear across a room if you open a jar. And so most liquid supplements have very low percentages of B complex for that reason, because they don't know how to mask the taste and the smell.
Yeah.
And we learned that just in the last 6 or 8 years with new masking agents that came out that can help us cover up that really aggressive B complex odor and taste.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest benefit of liquid supplements is, besides the obvious, like absorption, which that's why, when you get over the age of 50, your digestion starts to change, and High Vitality liquid comes into play because it allows you to absorb, because your digestion is not the same as it was when you were younger. So that's obviously the first place people would start at. But is there any other benefits to liquid supplements besides that?
Well, with regard to absorption, yes, because nutrients absorb in the stomach, many of them. The stomach should be a naturally acidic organ, which it often isn't, especially after age 50.
Yeah.
Because we began to lose our ability for the stomach to produce adequate gastric acid. The benefit of something like High Vitality liquid, it's got a pH of 4.5. It's very acidic.
Yeah.
So when that enters the stomach, it's already at a pH for absorption.
Okay.
Plus which, the very nature of the pH of the fluid helps to stimulate further gastric acid production. So in a way, taking something with a low pH like that actually enhances and benefits digestion indirectly.
And so, on a side note then, does that mean the other supplement companies just don't know how to get the pH right?
Oftentimes they don't consider that it's important.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, gosh, that's a lot to take in. That kind of leads me to the evolving science of supplements. You've said in the past that supplements are still evolving and in their infancy, even now in the end of March 2024. Why do you think that?
Simply because we are learning new things about nutrients and delivering nutrients to the living system of the body. We're learning new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And every time we think that, well, we got it made, we now we know everything there is to know. We get taught a nasty lesson in the fact that we don't know.
Yeah, and then you see so much misinformation about nutrition and vitamins, and you see it all the time. You see these ads that basically say if you take our product you're going to walk on water. I think what happens is all that stuff really hurts the super reputable long-term vitamin companies like Phoenix Nutritionals that have been in the trenches for 23 years. I think that all really hurts it. How do you think that it's going to keep evolving?
Well, I think that we'll learn more about pH. We'll learn more about a wide variety of things that we think we know, but I'll bet there's things about them that we don't know. Because I can remember a few years ago, well, we thought this was it.
Yeah.
This is the best we're going to ever get. And then the industry came out with new masking agents and allowed us to increase the potency of the B complex, for example.
Yeah.
And it still tastes reasonably good. And so every time we get complacent and think, well, that's it, this is the best it's going to get, something happens.
So basically what you're saying is that being a formulator of products of all kinds of vitamins, liquid and supplements in capsule form, how do you deal with all the information? How do you keep up with it all?
Well, fortunately, there are sources. National Library of Medicine is probably one of the biggest.
Yeah.
And I just take the time because I enjoy doing it. I'm a thirsty person for knowledge. And if I see something that I think can benefit a wider variety, range of people, then I began to think about how can I incorporate that into a supplement? And how can I make that bioavailable at the same time so that people can actually absorb it? But you made a good point about all these claims that these people make. I've always thought that you should, claim less and deliver more.
Yeah.
Because then people are happy. But when you make all these outlandish claims, oh, these supplements do this and do that and do this and do that. Listen, guys, dietary supplements, in my opinion, and it is shared by many researchers, it's the only way to get the optimal amount of nutrients you need for optimal wellness. That having been said, just because you take a multivitamin or you take a vitamin formula for a specific reason, it's not going to be able to totally outweigh or overcompensate if you're living a 100% unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you're drinking a half a bottle of liquor a day and you're smoking cigarettes and you don't sleep and you're under stress and eating crap food, I mean, there's not a supplement in the world that's going to be able to overcome all that.
Yeah.
And so I don't believe we should tell people that this fixes everything, because it doesn't. But it's a huge piece of the puzzle, because you just can't get all the nutrients you need from food. And as much as the American Dietetic Association wants you to believe that desperately, it just isn't true.
Yeah. What do you think about and I've heard you speak on this before, about the singular nutrient products versus a more target full spectrum approach?
Well, there are actually three categories. There's what I call the full spectrum. So that means it's got to provide at least 100 nutrients. Okay. Then there's targeted formulas. Those formulas are comprised of groupings of nutrients that have all shown to have the same benefit for the same issue. So, for example, if we do a joint supplement, we would do glucosamine chondroitin, but we'd also do MSM and boswellia and yada yada. If we do a stress formula, yes, we're going to use the B complex, but we're also going to use a wide variety of herbs and amino acids, because they also contribute to the same supportive nature. So that would be a targeted product. Then lastly, we have singular nutrients, like when you go to the store and buy a bottle of vitamin C or vitamin A. And the basic rule of thumb is that you shouldn't take isolated nutrients by themselves, because doing so can oftentimes upset your biochemistry and create other problems. So for example, if you take vitamin C, because there's darn good research to show that vitamin C can prevent even the common cold. But if you take it in high amounts and you don't take a multivitamin that provides everything else, the vitamin C is a diuretic. It's one of its properties. And that, under certain circumstances, is a really good thing. But if you're not taking any other nutrients, it's going to flush all the water-soluble nutrients, like the B complex, out of your system at an accelerated rate.
So it becomes an imbalance.
So your body chemistry becomes drastically imbalanced. I always tell people, if you want to take isolated nutrients for certain things, always take a good full spectrum supplement together with it, or first. Then you can add all these other things that you think you need or that you do need for whatever issues you're dealing with, and you will be safe in doing so because you will not be upsetting the biochemistry of the body, and you will not create deficiencies by doing so.
And so that's the key. I think a lot of people miss that if you're doing these isolated nutrients and you're not taking a full spectrum product, you're actually kind of part of the problem. You're causing that imbalance.
You sure can be over time if you do it long enough.
Wow. So lastly, you saw on the internet some very interesting things that I think we should just get to now because they're just so juicy.
Well, I have a love-hate relationship with the internet, as many people do.
And what is it? 15 things you probably assume
you thought were unhealthy.
Okay.
But are actually okay.
Okay.
But, you go on the internet and they go, is this bad for you? Have you ever noticed that it seems like every week there are more and more things that are bad for us?
Yeah.
There are lots of things that are bad for us, but it seems to be increasing. And if you sit back and think about it, there's nothing you can eat. There's nothing you can drink. You really shouldn't be breathing because it's bad for you.
Yeah.
But there has to come a point where we begin to realize that it's not totally true. It's not, everything's not bad for us. Just lots of things. So I found this article and I thought it was really funny, and I want to share it for you. All right. Number 1, doing nothing to decompress. Decompression, relaxation is a waste of time. Sometimes you just need to do that. You got to do that. And it's not a waste of time. Relaxation, meditation, prayer, decompressing, doing something different, getting out for a walk in nature, has tremendous potential health benefits. Avoiding gluten. This is one of my favorite pet ones because I have teased people for years about this. I've got to avoid gluten. Gluten's bad for you. Gluten has no negative effect on your body unless you're celiac or you have a gluten allergy.
Yeah.
But if you don't have those things, avoiding gluten is really unnecessary. I mean, unless you just feel that compelled that you just have to do so because you read it on the internet. Organic soy. If the soy is organic and it is pesticide-free, which is hard to get, it does contain phytoestrogens. And these phytoestrogens are generally not harmful for most people, except as we get older. Excessive amounts of phytoestrogens can imbalance the relationship between estrogen, progesterone, and other hormones. And some people are far more sensitive than others, but generally speaking, look at Asian countries, for example. Their diet is hugely made up of soy. Now, do I think soy is a good protein by itself? Not necessarily. The amino acid makeup of it is not necessarily as good as some other sources like whey, for example. But if you're allergic to dairy, then whey's out of the question. So it just depends on your own body chemistry. Red meat. Oh, evil stuff. Should avoid it at all costs. Whatever you do, all over the internet. However, red meat is full of healthy omega oils, amino acids, vitamins, and minerals.
Yeah.
As long as you stay away from processed meat, cold cuts full of nitrates.
Yeah.
But if you're going to sit down and have a nice fat steak, it's not going to do you any harm at all.
Yeah.
Nuts. Oh, can OD on nuts. They're high in calories, they're high in fats, make you fat, terrible things.
But I thought nuts are high in good fat.
They absolutely are, but
Yeah.
they don't. That's not what the internet tells people.
Oh, okay.
So many people think they're unhealthy because of these high fats, but they're actually high in very good fat. They contain fiber, and they also contain lots of minerals. So why not have some? And of course, everything is dose specific. If you have a handful of nuts a day, you're going to get great benefits, especially almonds. And if you have 12 handfuls, you may have a problem. But then again, there's a problem connected with every extreme in life.
All right. So I think right now this is a great place to stop at the nuts part. And I think